I remember when believing in God meant something. That was until we found out what God meant. Remember the time parents used to pick your friends? Now your friends are picking your parents. There was a time a man's word was his bond. Now we write contracts we don't keep. Remember the time you came from a family of 7, 10, 13? Now 2 is too many. Remember when families had a husband to protect it? Now he's replaced with the 45. There was a time girls were taught to keep their panties up, dressed down, legs crossed. Now we teach, don't forget your peel. It used to be when one used the name of God, people would tremble. Now they tell you to go to hell. There was a time children would beg you not to tell their parents. Now they tell you they don't give a darn. It used to be a girl would want the ring. Now she just wants the money. I remember if you called a woman the B word, she would feel insulted. Now they call each other that. Jesus said, beware of the sign of the time. Now we take that to mean the weather. Remember when you used to leave for school with your stomach full? Now you just leave. It used to be a husband word had authority. Now he murmurs under his breath. There was a time that a man's only competition for a job was another man. Now it's his wife. It used to be that a wife didn't get pregnant within 9 months after marriage. People wanted to know what was wrong. Now if she gets pregnant within 9 months, they say she's crazy. There was a time gays were hidden. Now there are no closets. It used to be that men exploited women. Now it's women exploiting themselves. There was a time a man knew his responsibility to his family. Now he doesn't even know it for himself. When I was young, I saw old people everywhere. Now that I'm old, I can't find any. There was a time that if your neighbors saw you do something, they would tell your parents, or worse. Now there are no neighbors. Remember when kids went outside to play and you got a break? Now they stay inside in your way. Remember when kids got their butt spanked and stayed out of jail? Now we don't spank them and the prisons are full. There was a time grandparents had time. Now they're working like everybody else. There was a time a kid could come home and a parent would be there. Now when they come home, they have their own key. There was a time if you heard a female using curse words, she would be so ashamed. Now she dares you to say anything. There was a time if you talked back to your parents, you got smacked in the mouth. Now if you're not careful, you might get smacked. There was a time old people had wisdom. Now that there are no old people, finding wisdom is getting a lot harder. There was a time that as a nation we had shame. Now we ask, what is shame? There was a time we used to be afraid of God. Not anymore. There was a time people would be in love. Now you don't hear much about that anymore. There was a time marriage honored God. Now who gets married anymore? There was a time a girl wouldn't leave home without being married. Now she does everything but get married. Jesus answered and said unto them, when it is evening you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrite, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the time. There was a time a married woman was Miss Jane Doe. Now she's Miss Jane Brown Doe. There was a time it seemed that you heard everyone talking about Jesus everywhere you went. Now it's just on Sunday morning. There was a time that our laws were based on biblical principles. Now they're becoming based on the prince of this world. There was a time that it was cheaper to keep her wife. Now it's cheaper never to make it legal. There was a time you would not hear a woman curse. Now that is all you hear. Until we call sin, sin, and stop making excuses, we're not going to make a difference for God. There was a time men married women out of honor. Now it's a business. There was a time that the church had considerable influence. Now few of us pay it any attention. It used to take 2 hours to cook supper from scratch. Now it takes 20 minutes out of the box. There were a time boys were raised as boys and girls was raised as girls. Now it's hard to tell the difference, one from the other. There was a time that marriage was reverence, and we taught it to our children. Now, marriage is disdain, and we teach whatever. There was a time we called on God in time of need. Now we just handle it ourselves. There was a time the husband was the provider. Now he just goes to work. There was a time that women were held in high regard and called lady. Now they're disrespected and called BCH. Standard of living used to be running water, electricity, flushing toilets. Now there's foreign cars, vacation, electronic gadgets. There was a time that the husband went to work and the wife stayed home to rear the children. Now there is no husband and the children go to daycare.